You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
And he pops out of the cake. Okay. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Today's Thursday, 29th day of May, 2025. And it's only 83 degrees here in Phoenix, Arizona. Partly cloudy. Got some rain coming this weekend. Yesterday, when I launched the broadcast, it was already 100 degrees. So, it's a beautiful day. Thanks so much for joining us, whoever you are, wherever you are. We're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now, the first live broadcast, that's our live training room. So, that's private. Members only, and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you have not yet taken your 1-week free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com. At the top of the page, there's a great big purple button. You can't miss it. Click it, fill out the form, hit submit. We'll get your indicators up and running today. Tomorrow your trial will officially start, but that's kind of like a freebie. And then the weekend won't count against you, and then you'll have all of next week. Keep in mind, when you take the trial, there's no credit card required. We want you focused so that you learn and you can make a well-informed and intelligent decision at the end of the trial whether or not trading is right for you. And you're not just gaining access to the live training room. What's going to happen is for 5 consecutive trading days, we're going to treat you just like you were a member, a passport holder. So you'll have access to everything you see us talk about today on the broadcast. Now, when the live broadcast ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which, unlike the morning broadcast, is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere, on planet Earth and other places, with an internet-connected device. I wonder if they have internet at the International Space Station. Oh, I'm going to have to check that out. Anyway, here's how you sign up for the afternoon broadcast. There's 2 different ways you can join this broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go back to mytradingiq.com, scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click that link, fill out that 30-second registration form, and you're done. What'll happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In that email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion as soon as the broadcast begins. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, maybe on vacation this time of year. But you've got the bug and you still want to join live. And then there'll be days when you're busy. Imagine that. And you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. But you don't have to remember all that. Just youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,800 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to our little corner of the world, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Now, obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. But it is a great resource to have at your fingertips, and it kind of lets you know we've been around a minute or two, maybe 3. youtube.com/CFRN. This is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. At the top of the hour, Michael will join us. He'll give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. Then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform for about a half an hour. But right now, we're going to just jump into our daily devotional. And we are actually beginning a new topic today. We spent a week or so on At His Feet. Our new devotional for the next 3 days, God's Inheritance Plan. What Proverbs 13:22 actually means. So, guess what today's scripture is? You got it. Proverbs 13, verse 22, and I'm going to share it from the Message translation. A good life gets passed on to the grandchildren. Ill-gotten wealth ends up with good people. I like the way that sounds. So, day 1, more than money. When you hear the word inheritance, what comes to mind? For many of us, the image is purely financial. Money, property, investments. But the Hebrew word used in Proverbs 13:22, nakala, carries a much richer meaning. In Hebrew thought, nakala encompasses land and territorial possessions, family legacy, spiritual heritage, and even divine blessing. In Psalm 16, David declares that the Lord himself is his inheritance. This broader understanding transforms how we read Proverbs 13:22. Because God isn't just calling us to leave financial assets to future generations, though that's certainly included. He's actually calling us to leave a comprehensive legacy of faith, wisdom, character, and material provision. Consider these sobering statistics. 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation, and 90% lose it by the third generation. Why? Because money without wisdom to manage it, character to steward it, and purpose to direct it often becomes destructive rather than the blessing God intended. I don't know if you know any trust fund babies, but because they were handed all this wealth at birth, they probably never had to work a day in their life. They don't know what it's like to try to struggle to feed your family, or if you're a business owner, make payroll. I want to tell you, back in the day when I had a lot of employees, in the early days of the company, I spent a lot of Thursday nights kicking the covers, trying to sleep, praying that tomorrow morning when I went to the post office to get the mail, this is back in the old days when people actually sent checks in to pay their bills, I would lay there kicking the covers, praying that God would ensure there be enough paid invoices in the mailbox so that I could meet payroll. And here's the really good news. By the grace of God, I never missed a single payroll. Again, that's the grace of God. So inheritance isn't just about what we leave behind, but who our descendants become because of what we've invested in them. God's desire is not that we transfer our financial assets to the next generation, but that we also transmit our faith, our values, our wisdom, and our character as well. This complete inheritance reflects God's own generosity towards us. He gives us not only material blessing, but also grants us wisdom, identity, and purpose. Now, speaking of trust fund babies, I was an untrust fund baby. My great-grandfather, my grandfather, and even my father died basically broke. And in a couple cases, a little bit in debt. I'm striving to break what almost feels like a generational curse. I want to have something that I actually can leave to my children. So today I want you to take inventory of your inheritance planning. Are you building a legacy that's financially substantial but spiritually empty? Or are you investing in the complete inheritance God desires for your descendants? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, help us to see inheritance through your eyes. Show us how to build a legacy that reflects your heart, one rich in faith, wisdom, character, and provision. May our descendants not only receive what we leave behind, but become who you've called them to be because of what we have invested in them. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen, and happy Thursday. Speaking of Thursday, tonight is the members only workshop. So members, I'll do my best to get us started at 8 p.m. Eastern sharp, which, as you know, means it'll probably be about 5 minutes after, 10 minutes after. I don't know, but I'll do my best. And please have your questions ready. And for those of you that have been on the trial, okay, if you've come to the decision that you want to be a part of who we are, you should have received an email already telling you how to become a member. If you act on that today, you will get an invitation to the members only workshop tonight, along with so many other things. I just had a news alert pop up on my screen. Trump could ask Supreme Court to halt tariff block as soon as Friday. That's tomorrow. Okay, let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Here's the deal. The Dow is down 94 points. The NASDAQ is up 77. S&P 500 is up 10. The Russell 2000 is down almost 7 points. So kind of quiet out there. In the commodity basket, crude oil down 60 cents, trading 61.24 last. That's a drop of almost 1%. Gold is up $29.50, trading 33.2440 last. That's a gain of almost 1%. Silver up 29 cents, trading 33.45 last. That's a gain of almost 1%. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 710 points, almost 2%. The Shanghai gained 23, and the Hang Seng added 315 points, almost 1.5%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 10, the DAX down 104, the CAC down 8. So we had a green day in Asia, but it was a red day for the UK. And at the moment, it is a mixed Radio Thursday here in the US of A. Now, when I say mixed, what I'm talking about is we got two of the major indices, the Dow and the Russell in the red, the NASDAQ and the S&P in the green. But not by a lot either way. As futures traders, we like to see the four major indices all the same color. Now, we don't care if they're all red or all green, because with futures you can be long, short, long again, all in the same hour, if that's what the chart in front of you is telling you to do. Keep in mind, we are technical traders, not fundamental. If you don't know what that means, Google it. All right. So, what happens when the four major indices are mixed? It's kind of like a game of tug-of-war. So you see this beautiful trade set up, you execute, but it doesn't quite make it all the way to the target. And so on those days, whereas some days you may get your goal for the day in the first trade, days like today it might take 2 or 3 trades. Now let's use the ES as an example. Our goal for the day is 2 points. So maybe on your first trade you only get a point. That's okay. Maybe the next trade gives you a half a point. Maybe the next trade gives you another half point. Okay. You still got your 2 points. It just took 3 trades. And the fact that commissions have come down so drastically. They've been cut like in a third from what we used to pay not so very long ago. So anyway, let's move on to the news. Now, you're probably not going to believe me, but I'm going to tell you this anyway. How many of you ever watched the TV show Chrisley Knows Best? Some of you have, some of you haven't. I thought it was a great TV show. My wife thought it was an abomination, and she wouldn't stay in the same room when I had it on. However, Todd and Julie, they did some little shenanigans with mortgages and whatnot. They were big into real estate. And they got busted. And they got arrested. They got sent to jail. And here's the part you might not believe, but it is true. Did you know that if someone's in a federal prison, you can go to the Bureau of Federal Prisons website and you can tell them that you would like to be able to email a certain inmate. And once they give you the approval, you can then email that individual. In a lot of prisons today, especially federal prisons, they have internet access. It's limited, but they have tablets. They can, stay in touch with family, send emails, that kind of thing. It's not unfettered access. They can't go to porn sites and stuff, I don't think. But anyway, I emailed Todd and I said, Todd, I've loved your show for years. I feel sorry for what happened, but I would love to interview you or even do a podcast with you while you're in the big house. And I'm sad to say he never wrote me back. So I let it go. Now, why am I even bringing this up? I'm going to tell you. The White House pardoned imprisoned reality TV stars Todd and Julie Chrisley earlier this week after the couple were convicted of tax evasion and bank fraud in 2022. The news comes as the administration has ramped up granting commutations and pardons to high-profile subjects it believes to be unjustly targeted. The pair entered the limelight in the USA Network show Chrisley Knows Best, which showcased their family's lavish lifestyle in Georgia and Tennessee. The series ran from 2014 until 2023, when their sentence began, amassing over 2 million viewers per episode by its 8th season. The Chrisleys were found guilty in 2022 of conspiring to defraud Atlanta area banks by submitting false documents to take out over $36 million in personal loans. Todd and Julie were sentenced to 12 and 7 years, respectively. The administration has significantly increased its pardon count from the president's first term and is separately considering a pardon for men who attempted to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer in 2020. Yeah, I don't know if I'm on board with that, but they didn't return my email. 4 Palestinians, sad to say, died yesterday as hundreds of people, and I say that just because they're human beings, stormed a warehouse in an effort to access food aid. The news comes as the World Food Program warns that 2 million people are at risk of extreme hunger amid international pressure over a new U.S.-backed aid distribution process. Last night, I'm on a very strict diet now because of my gallbladder thing. And as I sat down with my little salad in front of me, something I might have 2 weeks ago turned my nose up at, it was one big, beautiful salad. And as I prayed over it and blessed it, I really leaned in and asked God to provide for all those around the world who go to bed hungry at night. Now, they don't go to bed hungry at night because God doesn't provide enough food for everybody. No. God's done his part. It's in the distribution process and the greed and the corruption and so many other things. That's why so many people go to bed hungry at night around the world and even here in the U.S. Separately, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Hamas Gaza leader Mohammed Sinwar was killed in an Israeli airstrike this month in a hospital in southern Gaza. Sinwar was one of the last widely known Hamas leaders in Gaza. The brother of October 7th attack planner Yahya Sinwar, he was responsible for a 2006 attack on an Israeli army post, resulting in the capture of Israeli soldiers Gilad Shalit and the eventual release of 1,000 Palestinian prisoners. Hamas has not commented on Israel's claim as of this writing. Israel separately carried out an airstrike on Yemen's Sana'a airport yesterday. The country destroyed what it said was the last plane used by the Houthi rebels. Giddy up. Now, across the pond, British prosecutors confirmed yesterday they authorized criminal charges against influencer Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan. The 21 charges, including rape, human trafficking, and prostitution, are connected to 4 alleged UK victims. The charges are separate from an ongoing case in Romania where the brothers stand accused of forming an organized crime group designed to lure women to the country. They face charges including rape and human trafficking in that case. They deny all wrongdoing. The brothers are due to be extradited to the UK once the Romania case concludes. A 4-time kickboxing world champion, Tate became a reality television star after a 2016 appearance on Big Brother in the UK. He has since amassed an online following of over 10 million followers on X, where he showcases a lavish lifestyle involving private jets and dozens of high-end cars. A self-styled misogynist, Tate also advocates for traditional gender roles in male-female relationships. And these guys are going down, and it sounds like for good reason, although they claim they're innocent. Turning to Wall Street, a startling decision early last evening from the United States Court of International Trade appeared to put at least a temporary pause on many of President Trump's wide-ranging tariffs, and the market took off like a rocket. I thought it was the Nvidia earnings until somebody in our discussion group alerted me to the fact that this had just happened. The Manhattan, and that's, yeah, that political rally, that folded real quick. The Manhattan-based trade court ruled in an opinion issued by a 3-judge panel that a key 1977 law called the International Emergency Economic Powers Act does not give Trump unbounded authority to issue the worldwide and retaliatory tariffs the president has imposed by executive order in recent months. Now, I said it was a 3-judge panel, unelected, okay, but appointed, one by Obama, one by Biden, and one by Trump. Go figure. Next, Nvidia stock popped around 6%, around 5% today, after the poster child for artificial intelligence reported mixed first quarter results after the close yesterday. The rise put it on track for its highest close since January. And right now, Nvidia is up a little over 4%. Positive signals from Nvidia and the CEO about AI infrastructure demand and the Blackwell ramp-up eclipsed an $8 billion revenue hit from the U.S.-China export rules, according to the initial reaction from Wall Street. Well, you've heard Elon Musk is leaving Washington, but he's not leaving quietly. The Tesla CEO confirmed his exit from Washington, D.C. in a post on X last night, saying that his scheduled time as a special government employee is coming to an end. I would like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending, Musk wrote on X, referring to his work with the Doge team. The post came one day after telling CBS in an interview that is scheduled to air in full this weekend that he was disappointed by the price tag of Trump's big, beautiful bill that could produce over $3 trillion in new red ink if the bill is passed. Come on, Elon. You're a businessman. You know that it takes money to make money. Elon has disappointed me on two separate occasions. When he was on Saturday Night Live, that was supposed to send the Dogecoin to the moon, and it had the opposite effect. So that disappointed me, and now I'm disappointed again. Come on, Elon, get it together. From Bloomberg, just weeks after U.S. President Donald Trump declared a total reset with China following a trade truce in Geneva, tensions are rising again between the world's biggest economies. Trump's administration yesterday announced it would start revoking Chinese student visas while also introducing new restrictions on the sales of chip-designed software and reportedly some jet engine parts to China. That came shortly after it sought to block Huawei Technologies from selling advanced AI chips anywhere in the world, prompting an angry rebuke from Beijing. Got to get your hand in their pocket. You get your hand in a man's pocket and you will get his attention. Now, you can thank Jerome Powell for this. Home contract signings took a nosedive in April as high mortgage rates and tariff uncertainty weighed on prospective buyers. The common, everyday, average American man in the street, he doesn't even know what the tariffs is about. It's the economy, stupid, and at the core of the economy is these unreasonably high interest rates. The pending home sales index fell 6.3% in April from a month earlier to 71.3, according to the National Association of Realtors. Economists had been expecting a more modest 1% decline. Whoa, that's a huge miss. And economists were expecting a 1% decline, and we got a 6.3% decline. Wake up, Jerome. A reading of 100 is equal to the level of housing contract activity in 2001. Now, the U.S. Court of International Trade, as I already said, has voted to block the vast majority of Trump's global tariffs. But the big boys over at Goldman Sachs, they don't really agree, because they say the court ruling may not stop Trump. Goldman Sachs highlighted that despite this recent court loss, it may not derail his plans. The ruling represents a setback for the administration's tariff plans and increases uncertainty, but might not change the final outcome for most major U.S. trading partners. For now, we expect the Trump administration will find other ways to impose tariffs. Prior to the court's decision, Trump on Wednesday criticized an emerging Wall Street trading philosophy in response to his ever-shifting policies. Yeah, I'm sure you heard it, the taco trade. The term taco, short for Trump always chickens out, has come in response to Trump's frequent pattern with tariffs. High tariffs and markets reeling until Trump backs off. It's called negotiation. Come on, man. He wrote The Art of the Deal. Oil is down as soft U.S. economic data and concerns about rising supplies eroded the risk-on sentiment from a court ruling that blocked a swath of the Trump's administration tariffs. Yeah, Trump will fix that. And last, from Reuters, Goldman Sachs president said today that the outlook for investment banking remains quite good. The bank's pipeline for deals worldwide is strong despite uncertainty over timing as U.S. tariff policies roil markets and stall activity. Our investment banking Business is very strong, and I think the outlook remains quite good. The pipeline is strong all over the world, but as we've already said, the element of volatility makes it hard to predict when deals will materialize. Subscribe to Truth Social, and when Trump puts out a post, it'll pop up on your phone. And trust me, his posts and slash tweets really do move the markets. In fact, this last rally we had, when it kicked off on Truth Social, Trump said early in the morning before the markets open, today might be a good time to buy. And those who failed to heed that advice started screaming market manipulation. Get a job. All right. Let's go to the local news. I'm talking about Logic 247, of course. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. It's not just E-minis, it's also crude, gold, silver. We're currently in week 356, and over the last 356 weeks, we have issued over 19,700 individual handcrafted alerts. We're actually approaching 19,800. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Valerie did this recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. Of course, she'll update it this afternoon, early evening, before the members only workshop, as she does each day. At the time she did the recap, since the markets opened this past Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, and some of you are going, hey, wait a minute, Monday was a holiday, the markets didn't open until Tuesday. No, the futures market opened Sunday night. See, those are global markets. So we don't work off Wall Street's time frame. We literally work around the clock. So since the markets opened Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 45 alerts. At the time of the recap, we were still waiting on the outcome of 14. That gave us 31 actionable alerts, of which 2, or 6%, would have been stopped out, again based on market structure and the simple process we teach all passport holders. Now, every logic alert has an entry price, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day, and usually additional targets and then a final trade to target. Of course, you can trade them, but make sure you're using them. Well, we're approaching that big 20,000 round number, and I told you some things are going to change. I don't know exactly how they're going to change, but after standing at this desk and issuing 20,000 alerts, I'm going to do something different, okay? The real purpose of the logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. No matter what you want to be in life, a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, a banker, you got to be able to read the textbooks so that you can get through school and graduate, right? Well, if you want to be a trader, you got to learn to read the charts. But that's a different language. There's no words, no sentences, no paragraphs, no punctuation. And the logic alerts will teach you very well how to read a chart. You'll learn where to expect potential resistance, where to expect potential support, and in doing so, you will unveil the windows of opportunity that exist in between. So, 356 weeks, a long time, but long before we had Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. Now they're different. I'm going to show you how. Number one, they don't come out around the clock. They are posted shortly before the Globex open each evening. See, today's the Thursday session, but it started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. So last night, 5 minutes before the market opened, all of our members and trial members had all of these targets. The ES, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. So as we go through these individual markets and you see these targets on the charts, just remember, all members and trial members had them 5 minutes before the market opened. And that's kind of a big deal. So with all that said, let us go to the daily chart of our friend the S&P 500 E-mini futures, the bellwether. Okay, we're in a downtrend. It looks like now we're going to go into an uptrend, but price ran into red and falling, which is typically resistance. Now, that political claptrap shot the market higher last night, and then it folded like a duck that just got hit with buckshot. And look at where we are now. That is bearish. But look where the market found support, at the step line. Now, we already had our bullish cross, pull back to the BBC, the pullback held, and we knew this was going to be potential resistance. And so right now, price is trapped between resistance at red and falling and support at the step line. The green line is called the BBC. Stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. Now you'll notice that the pull back to the BBC, whether it's pulling up from below or pulling down from above, the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. But we also know that eventually price will trade through, like it did here February 21st, leading to all this, and like it did right here on April 24th, leading to all this. So the question remains, is the downtrend over? Has the uptrend begun? I'm waiting to see price exceed this area right here. Now that's called a bearish cross, when the red line gets below the green line and leads to an extended move. The first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance, at least the first time up. So once we overcome that, you see these are reverse fibs. Because of the downtrend, I drew from the high to the low. But once we take out this area, moving on up, I will erase these fibs and I will draw from the low to the high. Okay. Now, daily charts are important because institutional traders, the deep pockets who actually move price, they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts, the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has everything to do with account size. So whether you trade futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. So spend just 2 minutes with the daily chart of whatever you're about to trade on your smaller time frames, because you get a free look over the shoulder of the deep pockets that move price, and you can see what they're doing, and you can identify the major areas of potential resistance and potential support that you would not be aware of on simply your smaller time frame. Try it for a month. I don't think you'll ever go back. Okay. All alerts, both the logic and the concierge, are created on the 30-minute chart. Nothing magic about 30 minutes, just the time frame I chose years ago, and I've stuck with it. If it ain't broke, leave it alone, they say. So I have. Now, yesterday on this live broadcast at right about this time, I drew in this window of opportunity. I drew in this window of opportunity. I drew in this window of opportunity. And before the markets closed yesterday, we filled the window, found support, bounced back up, the BBC pullback held, sent us down to fill that window a second time. Okay. Then the vertical lines here separate today, Thursday, from yesterday, Wednesday, back here's Tuesday. Vertical lines. So this was the opening candle last night. And remember, all members had these targets 5 minutes before the open. Now when that news hit, we ripped up and we filled that window. So of the 3 windows we drew live in real time on yesterday's broadcast, you can check it, youtube.com/CFRN. 1 fill, 2 fill, 3 fill. And before the day is out, this window here could fill. Actually, did we dip into it? No, we came right down to the top of it. We never really entered it. So the step line is on the right side of red and falling, so we may be in for a retracement back to the BBC. But price is trapped right here. The step line is acting as resistance, the black line. And when red and falling gets directly below price, as it is right now, that can act as support. So price is trapped. Okay. So last night, because the second price got above the BBC and this weekly zone, and you had blue and climbing, man, let's say you didn't get in till, I don't know, 59.35. This thing ran all the way up to 59.97. 60 points. Now, granted, I had no idea that I thought this would happen off the Nvidia earnings, but they were mixed, as we already covered. So cooler minds prevailed, and down we go. We traded through the BBC along with the help of red and falling, and it took us all the way down to this zone right here. Now, initially, we stalled out right here where the previous bullish cross was. When you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. So we hung up there for a bit, and then we pushed on down to the zone, which gave us a bounce into red and falling. Okay, resistance. And that sent us all the way down to the short target. So we hit the long target, hit the short target, and we filled these windows of opportunity. And that's what I mean about learning how to read a chart. If you learn how to read the chart, then you can draw windows of opportunity just as easily as I can. Okay? It's not magic. We got a beauty sitting up right here. Let's call it, let's call it 59.05 down to 58.95. That's 10 points right there. Now, when you have a window that big, sometimes price will come halfway down, retrace back to the top of the window, and then complete the move and go all the way through the window. But again, it's a 10-point window. 2 points gives you your goal for the day. Okay, so we'll check on that and see what happens tomorrow. We'll see if it filled. Could fill before the broadcast ends. The Dow. Now, these lines are the weekly trading zones. They're published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They do not change in any way whatsoever. When price moves up to a zone, we expect resistance till proven otherwise. When price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. We've published the zones for our members and trial members since December 14th of 2009, closing in on 15 and a half years. So, this was the opening candle last night. This second candle took us right up to the long target. And then there was all that political stuff. And we rolled over just like the ES and came all the way back down to the short target. We spiked this zone. Now 42.045. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4 more zones below. Okay. And again, once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. When Monday's a holiday, as it was this week, they're posted Tuesday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. But again, they don't change the entire week. So, hopefully you are taking advantage of the opportunity. The Russell, here's the opening candle last night. Up we go, we get above the BBC. So maybe you didn't get until right here, 2083. That was 3 points to the target, but man, it just kept flying. And like the other indices, rolled over and hit the short target multiple times. And looks like we might trade lower. My only concern is the step line is on the wrong side of red and falling right now. See on the way down up here how the black step line's on the left side of red and falling? Now it's on the right side. That typically indicates the market's going to attempt a retracement to the BBC. But that wick right there tells me that this time, maybe not. We'll see. Now, only one of three things happens when price encounters a weekly trading zone. 70% of the time it's consolidation. 20% of the time rejection. 10% of the time the slice. You see how this candle sliced through the zone on the 30-minute chart like it wasn't even there? When it ran out of steam, what did it do? It retraced back to the zone it sliced through, then continued in the direction of the slice. Here's the NQ. This was the opening candle. And we were already above the BBC. We had blue and climbing, so you should have been entering on the open of this candle, which was 21,514. So that's over 80 points, but 80 points at $20 a point, that candle's worth $1,600 per contract traded. If you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, at 16 grand. So it did what the other indices did, rolled over, came back down, and we found some support right here, which bounced us up into red and falling, and that sent us right down to the short target. Again, all members and trial members had all these targets 5 minutes before the market opened. Crude oil opened bullish last night, above the BBC, blue and climbing. This one candle right here opened at 62.02, and it ran up $280 per contract traded to the target. But then it went all the way up to the next zone, resistance. Rolled it over, down to the short target, through the short target, and then the market found support at the zone. When the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance, which it found at the zone. Now you see how the step line, the black line was on the left side of red and falling to here. And then as we started to consolidate sideways, the step line is now on the right side. So the crude market's heavy today, but this could be an indication that we're going to retrace back to the BBC, because red and falling is now directly below price. So maybe we go lower, find support here, and then make the trip up to the BBC. Gold. Opening candle last night. Didn't take us all the way to the target, but almost. This candle did. Traded through the target and found support at the zone. Support sends us to resistance. The pullback held. But the next leg down ran into blue and climbing, which is bullish. And that got us above the BBC. Leg, retracement, leg, all the way up to the target. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's crude. I'm going to be rolling tomorrow. I'll let you guys know in the discussion group, and I'll show you tomorrow when I roll. I might just let the week play out, and when I do the zones Sunday night, maybe I'll roll then. But either way, I'm going to let you know in the discussion group, and there's also a trial discussion group. For those of you that don't know, when you take the trial, you're able to mix and mingle with our traders. Okay? Very few firms will allow you to communicate with their traders, because you might hear some horror stories. Well, because we work so hard to take care of our members, we're not concerned about any horror stories that I don't think you hear any, because everybody's happy because they're learning how to trade and they're profitable. The days of blowing up account after account after account, those days are gone, man. Okay, silver, the last market. Here's where we opened last night, and we did a quick drop right down to the short target. Now, it only takes 2 pennies to get your goal for the day in silver. In fact, we traded through the target to the zone, which is 3279/3280. Now, the low of that candle is 3280 exactly. Now, remember, these zones were published Tuesday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Support will send the market looking for resistance, which it found at the long target. And then we took out yesterday's highs by just a little bit. Came back down to this zone, which we expect to be support till proven otherwise. Support will always send the market looking for resistance, which it found at the zone. Okay? So on every market, we hit the short target and the long target on every one of these markets. That, my friend, is a beautiful thing. But the big picture, we got a doji, and that's a bearish doji at the moment. So, Michael has arrived. He's going to give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room.
Yes.
Then do some live trading on the TradingView platform. Then I'll come back and wrap things up with our good word for the day.
All right. All right. So I've been playing with my microphone and stuff like that, and I found this. I know, but in the recording is where it was getting messed up. But I found a filter for OBS that was a gain filter you can add, and I think I got it working right now.
Okay. Yeah, the gain. I used to have a whole console, but I finally went all digital. You know, when you go to a rock concert, they got that thing with all the knobs and sliders.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was more trouble than it was worth. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I got it right
digital now. Yeah, you sound good now. All right, looks good, my friend.
All right, well, here we go. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 29th day of May, 2025. One business day left in this month. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button right here. There is no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button. And when you do, it's going to bring you to this registration page. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. Down here at the bottom, gives you TradingView login ID. Right? If you don't have one of those, click on this button right here and get one. It's a pretty simple process, but once you get that, then we'll be able to get our indicators indicating on your desktop. And that's what you really ultimately want to have anyway, isn't it? So the spreadsheet, we didn't have an easy day today. We did end up positive 380, but at one point I was just discussing with Sean, we were down about 300 at one point per contract. So if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, as I said, is the 29th day of May, 2025. We made 44 ticks on the NQ. We lost 45 on the Russell. We made 16 on the gold and 18 on the ES. That put us at plus 380 this morning. Today it took 14 minutes and 4 trades to get to $1,150. We took a total of 20 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're at $19,565. That's over 18 trading days, averaging $1,086 per contract per 2-hour trading day. On the year now, we're at $139,382. That is over 90 trading days, averaging $1,548 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Now, following the 24/20 blueprint, if you were to quit trading when you get the goal for the day and add 1 contract per month so far this year, you would have you would have only had to work 11 3/4 hours. You'd be up $44,697, and you'd be averaging $3,814 per hour. That's if you did everything exactly like I did, right? Let's get into the trades. We only had 20 trades today, and most of them were on the ES, it looks like. But I'm just going to start with gold, and we'll work our way across, okay? All right, so we had lots of drawings today. I deleted a bunch of them, but we started out here. Now, when we got the goal for the day, we spread it out amongst different things. I believe gold, we had 8 ticks on our first trade right there. Then we had a break even. Then we had 2 ticks here to get us to 10. Then 5 ticks there to get us to 15. Then 1 tick there to get us to 16. And that is where we ended it for the morning session. And I was hoping during the break, when the European markets closed, that we'd get some pretty good movement on the US markets, and we did. You can see the gold had a nice big move up here. I was hoping the US markets would move up, but I'm guessing they probably moved down, right? But on gold, we ended up with plus 16 this morning. Russell, my nemesis today. I did do 1 trade during the break, and I got a little bit of profit on it. But today, the Russell, I did make a mistake in there, and I stopped out on that mistake. But this was a regular trade right here. My first trade on the Russell was right here, minus 15. My next trade on the Russell was right here, minus 15. That's minus 30 altogether. And then my next trade was right here. That was not a good trade to take right there. I have an orange arrow because I messed something up on that trade. And got all the way to minus 45 on that one. Then we had a break even right there. And that was it. During the break, I did take 1 trade in here. I don't remember what it was. I think it was a short from up here somewhere. And I got 1 tick profit on it. There was some good movement here. I guess, look, the indexes started to move up. They did move down immediately. No, not immediately, but when the gold was moving up, the indexes moved down. But now the indexes are recovering a little bit right here. Okay. That was the Russell. Now the ES. The ES is where we had the majority of the trades today. And when we finally got our goal, it was on the ES, and let's get all the way over here to where it was. All right, so our first trade on the ES was a break even right here, and then our next trade on the ES, we picked up 2 ticks right there, and I believe that's where we got the goal for the day. I think, I don't know. But the next trade on the ES we had, now there was something in here that we picked up 2 ticks, and then we had a break even. And then we picked up 4 ticks to get us to plus 6. And then we stopped out, and that put us down. I have us down at minus 2. And then we went from minus 2 to plus 2. So we picked up 4 there. And then we picked up 8 there to get us to plus 10. And then 4 there to get us to 14. And 2 there to get us, 4 there to get us to 18. And that is where we ended it for the ES. You can see there were some more opportunities in here. I was drawing these as they were happening, and there were opportunities in there to take trades, but I just wasn't paying attention well enough to take the trades, and I should have. You see when the European markets closed in here, we did have some big move down. So it was all the way up here at 932 at that point. And has it made it all the way back up there yet? Almost. We've almost recovered 100% of the move down since then. And that was the ES. We ended up with plus 18 on the ES. Okay. And now the NQ. The NQ, we didn't have very many trades on the NQ today. That's pretty much it right there, I think, isn't it? No, I had one at the beginning. I had a small one at the beginning. We picked up 3 ticks here. First trade right there, 3 ticks on the NQ. Then I didn't trade it again for a while. That's not to say there weren't any trades in there, but I just wasn't doing it. We picked up 5 ticks there to get us to plus 8, a break even there, and then went from plus 8 to 44 here. So we had 36 ticks. 36 ticks on that move right there. And that was it. All right. That was our whole day. So the markets are moving around a little bit right now, so we should have some opportunities to trade. This one right here would actually be a pretty good opportunity to trade the NQ if I can find my NQ down. There's my NQ down that's not in the right place. It should go gold, Russell, ES, NQ. And I did not have it in that right order. But there. Now it is back in the correct order. So I can place trades as I see fit now. All right. So that was it for the morning session. Again, we were plus 44 on the NQ, minus 45 on the Russell, plus 16 on the gold, plus 18 on the ES. Okay. Plus 18 on the ES. Got us up to $380 a contract this morning. I was looking to get to 20,000 by the end of the week, and we're $335 away. Is that right? $435 away. $435 away from hitting that. So I got to hit 435 tomorrow to get to where I wanted to get by the end of the month. Hopefully we'll be able to get that with no problem tomorrow. We do have some news coming out tomorrow, so we'll be able to react to that news. Hopefully react to the market reacting to that news. All right. So I don't have my question box out, so why don't I bring that out and see if anybody's asked anything. It's unusual. People don't usually ask questions in this session. They ask them in the morning. But there it is. Nobody has asked anything at this point. All right. So here we are. You see how both of these came out of here, didn't make it into the overbought. It's probably to come out again. Came out of here, didn't make it into the overbought, just came out again. The second one where it came out is probably going to work out, but it's not a trade you want to take. Okay, this one over here is a better trade to take right here on the NQ. I don't know if I said that already. The entry point on that should have been right here, 41.5. 41.5. All right. Is that right? 51. I'm sorry, 51.5, not 41.5. I was wondering what the heck. Well, here, I jumped in there. I'm going to throw my stop at break even. I think I should have had it at break even already. And I don't have a very good entry on this at all. But from 54.25, it had to get up to right there, 59.25 is what it had to actually get up to. I made a bump the stop, so a little aggressive bump in the stop too. It's going to get up there though. It should get up to here. If it doesn't get up there, it should at least get to right here to 67.25. Okay, I'm going to lock in. It's just going to lock in a point. It just took me out of break even. See if I drop it now. It doesn't have anywhere to drop it. It just took me out of break even right there. Okay, now the ES has made it all the way into the overbought and it's pulling back again. So now we have a new place to draw from with the ES. Okay. That's it right there. So we're not going to have a trade there on the ES with that little bit of movement that we had. We're not going to have a trade there on the ES. Now, you would think you'd be able to draw from some other place, but it just, because of the way it came together down here, it's just not giving you anything. That's it. We really don't have anything to work with here. Now, all the stuff that we have been saying for the last month or so, today we got up here to the prior swing high right there, and we need to break through that. And with this, it looks like this area up here is going to be extended out for another week or so, probably. I was thinking that, at the beginning of the week, I was thinking it'll probably take an extra week to get to there. So we'll see what happens. That's this much movement. And if you look at that much movement from here to here, and you extend that from there to there. That's a week's worth of movement right there to get us exactly where I want to be. So we'll see if we get there. All right, depends on the close today. If the close today is above the MA1, then the Sunday night open could be something that sends us up pretty good. But there are lots of factors going into the fluctuation, volatility in the market, it seems lately. Tweets and judges overstepping their boundaries and all kinds of things like that. And the Supreme Court's earning their money now, aren't they? They don't really get paid all that well, do they? It's a lifetime appointment, but they don't really get paid all that well. Think about that. Would you want that job, really? A lifetime appointment? Those people serve until they're like just about dead. And whether they should or shouldn't. There are some jobs I would really not want to have. That's one. Being a president is another one. I would not want that job. Unless you're like Obama or Biden. You really should be on your game and not have any time off. But those guys each take like a year off in their terms. Biden at the beach or wherever. He's with one in a year. But Obama playing golf all the time, if I remember right. I'm just guessing. All right, so anyway, away from politics and back here to the trading. We're below the YBR here, so what we're going to be looking for is a pullback right up to about here. If we get an up close on this and it puts us in the overbought, that could be an aggressive short right there on gold. Right there. Aggressive short on gold. Here it is. Okay. And that needs to go 5 ticks into profit. Like it just is going to one more tick. It's got to go down to 0.2. Come on, 0.2. And you see them on the Q contract on gold too, right? All right, and I'll explain the aggressive nature of the trade here in just a minute. I just want to make sure I hit break even when it gets to. You know what? I'll explain it anyway. This is what I was looking at. A close right there at the 50% mark. That is, I'll take that aggressive trade pretty much anytime I can get it. Right, so the entry should have been here at 0.9, so I'm off by 2 ticks. Now, if I would have gotten it exactly at 0.9, my stop would have been break even already, and I'd be out of the trade. But I think it should work out to get all the way down here to the swing level of 44.6. My target, 25 ticks, is down there at 44.2. So we'll see how it all pans out here. Don't know how it's going to be just yet. Cliff is saying what I'm trying to fix. Get it. I will try to redo the Wednesday meeting so that it can be heard a little bit better. All right. So right now, look for the gold to move down. Slide that over there. There it goes. It's going to get to 0.2. 0.2, there it is. 0.2. Stop to break even on that. Now that should get all the way down here. 44.6 is where it should go. Right? Well, we're on a break even on it. But 44.6 is where it should go down to. The other markets have not really given us anything to work with yet. Right? Yeah, I know, Jim. They're given the responsibility to handle things that the younger judges in lesser courtrooms handle inappropriately. or incorrectly. I don't want to get into politics, but anyway. Again, that's the job I would not want to have. It doesn't seem like you could have any fun with that kind of job. All right, so we just went from the overbought all the way down into the oversold here. I'd like to see it put in a lower swing at the same time. That would be a good thing. We get the lower swing in place there. And over here right now, I'm going to look for this to, well, it's going to pull up into the overbought, but we're above the YBR, so we're drawing from the bottom to the top right here. So we really don't have anything to work with right here. We don't have any space. This is the way the indexes have been most of the day today. This move right here, from here to here, if you draw this from here up to here, that gave you a spot right in here. We could have gone long. But right here's where we would have gone long on the aggressive entry right there. It's just enough to get your stop to break even. Just a mess. The markets have been just really messy today and yesterday. And we're hoping for that big $7 trillion influx of cash into the markets yesterday, but I don't think that happened. What is this? That is. All right. So I've been recording this, and I kind of want to have Dwayne talk again, so I can see if it's recording the desktop audio as well as mine. I think it's recording mine. I did find the gain. I put the gain on every input type, so hopefully it's going to work out all right in the recording. Because I'm getting messages every day about my recordings being too low. So I really am trying to fix that. All right. We're going to flip the YBI here on the Russell. It looks like we already did here on the ES. So now that we flipped it on the ES, you have to draw from the top down. So it'd be from here down to here now. All right. From the top down. Right there. Well, really, right back here. The last time it pulled onto the overbought. The next time it goes into the overbought, the high and low in that area. All right. Looks like we're trying to flip the YBR over here on the NQ as well. Right. So same area right there. All right, it's 1:19. We have 11 minutes left in here, guys. 11 minutes. And well, here we go. On the ES. All right, that is, well, let me bring this down like that. All right, that's an aggressive entry, aggressive short right there. I just took it. I'm throwing my stop and break even on that. I'm going to lock in 2 ticks on that, 4 ticks on that. There's our first trade. Now, the reason I went aggressive on that is because we had the entry right here when it went into the overbought right there. All right, we got to the midpoint right there when we went into the overbought. So we just got over 4 ticks on that. Okay. That is the reason I went aggressive on that. Did you see that, Jim? That opportunity right there. I know you're paying attention. Jerry, did you see that? Jerry L. Jerry L. You gotta get back in sync with all your stuff going on. Hopefully you managed to get it all straightened out. I think Jesse went live yesterday, I think. So we're above the YBR here still. You would be drawing down from here. Okay, from up here, you'd be drawing down like that. I'm sorry, you'd be drawing up. I'm sorry, my bad. You'd be drawing up like this now. Okay, you would have been drawing up from back here, but did more than 100% retracement. So now we have a new spot to draw from. And we flipped the YBR here on the ES. So on the ES, we are going to draw down. It's 100% retracement too. You could short from right up here on this. You could have shorted from right up here. I guess you probably still could. Right up here on the ES, it's 100% retracement. It's a bounce off the 100% retracement of this leg down. Okay. Stop to break even. Here it is. Stop to +4 and 8, and about like 8 more on the ES. This, what did I draw here? Oh, that's okay. See what I drew. We really don't have anything to do here on the NQ right now. But this, let me just explain the ES thing that I just did to you. Okay, this was the leg length. Right? It was from where it came out of the overbought back here, the high and low in between where it came out of the overbought here and when it went back into the overbought over here, the high and low in between that. So it went right up through all this midpoint. We took a short here and then it went back up, right? We got 4 ticks on that. It went back up and it went 100% retracement. Now when we got to the 100% part right here, you had your down close right there at 100%. That's what I just shorted and took those 8 ticks on. Okay. It didn't flip the YBR. It stopped right at the YBR. So you had an area of resistance right there that's sending it down. And I took the 8 ticks on that move right there, the 100% retracement. Now it's stopping right here at the 50%. After it's done that, it's stopping at the 50%. It wouldn't surprise me right now. And this is a trade that I normally would consider taking without the YBR. Look at it without the YBR. Okay, this is a 50% retracement, this leg up. And when it got down here, when it got into the oversold right there, that's where you want to do the aggressive trade. Right? You see it. We've been right in here. Now, if you put the YBR in there, then that limits you a little bit as far as that goes, but it's okay. See, if you threw that on there, it changed directions on you there, so you could have done it like that, but it's a little more sensitive. I just wanted to point out why I took that trade there. We had that one, it gave us some profit. Then we had that one, it gave us some more profit. 2 moves in the same direction. Here on the NQ, I'm not the NQ, but the Russell's actually got a trade right here. Now, the Russell's been handing me my butt today. It's been whooping me. But it does have a trade right here, an aggressive long trade from right here. Let me draw that for you. Aggressive long trade from right there. I'm in it. It hasn't gone enough to get the stop to break even yet. It's going to get up to 0.2 to get that stop to break even. I really would like to have a positive trade here other than that one tick trade that I had earlier. But we'll see what happens with that. Okay, this window always on top. Slide that over there. See, I found support right here at the midpoint of this leg length. I was expecting that to happen. All right. Now let's stop out on the Russell. Russell's just got my number today. I'm telling you. It's just got my number. It's going to stop me out again. There it is. I'll just stop trading the Russell. Maybe I'll stop trading it on the 9 range. If you did it on the 19, if you stuck to the 19, how many trade setups did we have today? Any? Yeah, we had some movement. If we stuck to the 19 range, you would have been looking at spot from 100% right in here. But I wouldn't have taken that. I wouldn't have taken that. I might have still taken that one. Interesting. Well, the stop loss are smaller anyway on the 9 range. So I don't like having them. All right. We just flipped the YBR over here on the NQ. So now the NQ looks like this. Okay. You're drawing down on the NQ from here to here. So an up close on this bar right here could be an aggressive short on the NQ. Okay. So an up close, it'd be 12 points from the bottom. It'd be 30.25. Now it'd be 27.50. If this closes down, it's going to be nothing, but you could sell 27.50 right now, like that. So that's just a regular limit order up there. If the bar closes up at 27.25, okay, and close down. No trade. Ooh, how about that? Slide that off to the side. And you don't really want to do that right there. All right.
I had to step away. Did I miss anything?
No, nothing much. It's 128. I had a couple of trades here on the ES that worked out pretty well. I was trying to get something going here on the NQ, but it didn't come together. It's actually almost there now, though.
You saw that big bearish doji on the daily chart as you were taking over, right?
I did look at everything over here on the daily chart, yeah. Yep. I was saying by the end of next week, I'd like to see this happen by the end of next week, that red one right there.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of next week, I think.
Right now, price is trapped between red and falling and the black step line.
It is. It's jammed up right in between those two right there.
And the only reason we got that big wick was because of that political news, if you want to even call it that came out last night.
Yes.
It shot up like a rocket and then it folded like a duck hit with a shotgun.
Yes, I need some comments about those type of people too earlier. But
hey guys, I know you. I can say this when Michael's done. Let me let him focus.
Okay. All right. Well, I can wrap it up. It's 11:29.
No, take it. I'm no rush.
Yeah, I just got one along. It is Thursday. We do have a partners meeting tonight. Okay, partners meeting tonight at 8 p.m. If you have any questions you want to bring.
Yeah, and if you've been on the trial, jump on that email you got, become a member, and you'll get an invitation to tonight's members only workshop. And you'll have access to all the previous workshops, hundreds of them, in the private Telegram channel. Yes.
Bob, if it goes past the 50%, like that one that I was talking about over here on the ES, right? What I did over here on the ES earlier is I took a short trade here off the midpoint, right? And I got 4 ticks profit in there. And then it pulled back to 100% retracement. It was that it was right here, but wherever it was, it pulled back to 100% retracement up here, and I took the short from up here. After I took Vortex here, it went down into the oversold, and it gave me another opportunity to take another trade up here at 100% retracement. Those are areas, Bob, if you think about it this way, right? When the market's going, when the market is going up and down and up and down, there's areas of support and resistance that are created. Now, this pivot point here was created by something. This pivot point here was created by something. This was created by something. And wherever it stops up here was created by something. They're always valid points. So this one here, even if it went up to here and it came back down to here, this is an area of support, right? If it goes through that area of support, this is still an area of support over here. So that's the 100% retracement. And it's the same thing on the other side when it's going down like this. You know, in that particular case, I took a trade here and it pushed down and I took some profit on that first one. And then it made it all the way back up and gave me another trade, but it went through the midpoint all the way up to here, you know, which was at one point another area of resistance, and made it all the way up to there. And it went up through it a little bit and then gave the down close right at it. And I took the short there, and that short there ended up going all the way back down. So yes, the question was, if it goes back to beyond the 50%, becomes another area of resistance. You know, that area is always there. The 100% and 50% is always there, depending what side you're coming at it from. You know, these areas, if you're going up and down like this, these areas are there for a reason. You know, there's buyers and sellers at that point, and they're there for a reason. And as long as they're there, you know, they're going to be there until they're broken. So, you know, in this case right here, got down below it, came up to this one, got a little push down off of that, then went through it. This is your next area of resistance. You push down off of that. I was able to take a trade on both of those. Okay, Bob? All right. So,
question. It looks like we hit the YBR on that chart, but it didn't flip.
So it didn't flip. It's, you know, the YBR printed after the fact. You know, it doesn't print on that. It doesn't print on that particular bar. It prints after the fact. So that bar closing down, it probably just dragged it down and showed it right there. If you were to look over here right now on this, let's see, the YBR is at 2179 and the high of that bar is at 2175. So it's an optical illusion.
Gotcha.
It's off by 0.04. All right.
It's kind of like sometimes after the fact, it looks like price touched the VVC, but in real time, it missed it by just a
hair.
Yep.
All right. So if you haven't taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingq.com, click on the purple button, no credit card required for the trial. Click on that. It's going to be the registration page. Just fill out the registration page. When you do that, make sure you give us your TradingView login ID down here. I'm going to get rid of that stuff. Gives you TradingView login ID down here. All right. That's all we need. Once you do that, we'll be able to get your indicators indicating on your charts. All right.
And what a great day, because your trial will start tomorrow, but the weekend won't count against you, and we'll probably give you all next week.
Yes, all of next week. Yes, even if you do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. That is it, guys. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Me, if you are ready.
Yep. Okay, recap of the morning session.
Today, what did I do? I think I took 14 minutes and 4 trades to get to $1,150 with 10 contracts on.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, for those of you that tuned in late, we already covered all the individual markets and all the alerts and all of that. And this is the daily chart that Michael was showing you his version of. Price is trapped between resistance at red and falling, support at the step line. There will be a winner. Now, I've already covered these, but just real quick. The windows of opportunity that I drew yesterday on the live broadcast. And you can go to youtube.com/CFRN. Make sure I'm not pulling your leg. And I showed you where I was drawing the window from. We filled it once, bounced, filled it a second time. And then last night, we filled this one on the way up. And now, we're poised to potentially fill this one that I drew on today's broadcast. And if we take out, see, the low of the day is right at the top of that window. How cool is that? So we could get this window and we could get this window during today's broadcast, or during today's session. Not a forecast, just an observation. The Dow, we hit both targets. The long on the way up, short on the way down. We're now retracing to the BBC. The Russell hit both targets. NQ hit both targets. Crude oil hit both targets. And notice where we found resistance, where we found support at the weekly zone. 15 and a half years, almost 15 and a half years. June will make 15 and a half years we've published these zones. On a regular week, they come out Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. Gold, we hit the short target, found support at the zone, and that launched us all the way up to the long target. Now on this pullback right here, we could find support at the top of that long target. If not, the zone and the BBC right here, that's support times 2. Plus you've got this low right here. So, but keep in mind the step line has crossed over, so we do anticipate a pullback to the BBC until proven otherwise. Silver, here's the open last night. We dropped straight to the short target. Now you only need 2 pennies in silver. This candle opened at 32.96 and dropped 8 pennies just to the target. That's $400 per contract traded. And here we sit, just consolidating at the zone, right on top of that target. Okay, so just saw a flash of red there. See it? I think she wants to go down, but we got to overcome that step line. Now, I know a lot of you want to know, how do I get in on all this? Go to mytradingiq.com. Watch the videos, read the content. When you've made up your mind, send us an email to support@cfrn.net. And just tell us, I want to become a member. Let me in. We'll send you an email that explains what it means to become a member, and we'll provide a link that you can click to seal the deal. And if you do it today, we're going to throw in a little bonus. All right. And if you do it pretty quick, you'll get an invitation to tonight's members only workshop. When you become a member, you get 2 hours of live interactive training every trading day. Live markets, real trades, real money, with an explanation of every trade taken. We don't sweep stop outs under the carpet. We know that's a part of trading. Okay, so you're going to have the most transparent experience you've ever had in a live training / trading room. Okay, we don't hide anything. It's all out in the open. Okay. 9 out of 10 new traders fail simply because they don't have anyone to teach them how to trade. Well, we plug that hole. On top of the 2 hours of interactive training every day, you also have access to private one-on-one mentoring. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder, are fluid across all markets and all time frames. You can use them on futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs. Doesn't matter. Price flow is the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. That's simply how markets work. And that's why it's so important that you learn how to read the chart. And that's what the Logic 247 alerts are really created for. Yeah, you can trade them, but make sure you use them to learn how to read the chart. As a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You'll get the concierge trade alerts every evening the second they're published, typically 5 minutes ahead of the open. Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you'll get the weekly trading zones. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. You'll be able to attend the members-only workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And you'll get the golden key that opens all the private channels in Telegram. One of those is the weekly workshop channel. So you'll have access to hundreds of previous workshops. Do you need to watch them all? No. But you can scroll through and find ones that might be of interest to you and watch them at your leisure. It honestly is everything a trader needs. All under one roof. That's important. One low price. Just let us know you're ready to go. Email us, support@cfrn.net. And it's time now for our good word for the day. Much more or much less? Part 1. Romans 5:20. But where sin abounded, grace did much more abound. Here's an expression used throughout Scripture to describe God's provision for us. Much more. I'm doing air quotes here because you can't see me. It assures us there is no need we will ever face that can't be met through God's abundant resources. Our tendency is to approach our needs with an attitude of much less, not much more. That's just part of the human condition. It assumes that God is unable or unwilling to meet them. No. God wants us to adopt a much more attitude. Whenever something happens to us in life, our mind instantly spins out of control about all the horrible things that can follow. We need a dynamic spiritual shift. So when something happens, maybe something bad, something we don't understand, something we feel we don't deserve, we got to believe that God's at work. And we have to look at that challenge and say, hoo-hoo, I can't wait to see what God does with this. But you got to believe. That's the key. Every time God healed somebody, what did he tell them? He said, Jesus, when he healed people, he said, your faith has made you whole. He didn't even take credit for it himself. Think about that. God wants us to have that much more attitude. Much less is the language of visible things. It allows circumstances and lack to govern our lives. Much more is the language of unseen things. It invites us to live in the assurance of God's abundance. There's an inspiring illustration of this principle in 2 Chronicles 32. The Assyrian king, his forces were threatening Israel with annihilation. Sound familiar? History repeats itself. After he told them to look around and see what he had done to the people of other lands, he added, how much less shall your God deliver you out of mine hand? But instead, King Hezekiah fixed his eyes of faith on God's resources and encouraged the Israelites. In 2 Chronicles 32:7, he said, be strong and courageous. Be not afraid. For the king of Assyria, nor all the multitudes that are with him, for there be more with us than with him. With him is an arm of flesh, but with us is the Lord our God to help us and to fight our battles. Although the Assyrians had a vastly superior army, verse 8 says God's people rested themselves. In other words, they stopped worrying. Believing the hand of God was much more effective than the arm of the flesh. And it's time you and I developed a much more mentality in our life, because our God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. Ephesians 3:20. Part 2 tomorrow. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.